Dear viewers, I hope everyone is well. In today's video, I will tell you in detail about former Russian President Boris Yeltsin and English poet William Shakespeare. Let's get started. Boris Nikolayevich Yeltsin, 1931 to 2007, was a pivotal figure in 20th century history, known for his instrumental role in the dissolution of the Soviet Union and as the first democratically elected president of the Russian Federation. His leadership marked a significant transition from a centralized communist regime to a more market-oriented and democratic society, albeit with considerable challenges and controversies. Early life and education. Born on February 1, 1931, in Butka, a village in the Sverdlovsk region of the Ural Mountains, Yeltsin came from a modest background. His family faced hardships during Stalin's purges. His grandfather was labeled a kulak and exiled, and his father spent time in a labor camp. As a child, Yeltsin suffered an accident that resulted in the loss of 2 fingers on his left hand. Yeltsin pursued civil engineering at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, graduating in 1955. He worked in construction and quickly rose through the ranks, demonstrating leadership and organizational skills. In 1961, he joined the Communist Party, marking the beginning of his political career. Political ascendancy. Yeltsin's political journey gained momentum in the 1970s when he became the first secretary of the Sverdlovsk Regional Committee, effectively the region's leader. He was known for his pragmatic approach and efforts to modernize the local economy. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev appointed him as the head of the Moscow Communist Party, tasking him with combating corruption. However, Yeltsin's push for rapid reforms and his criticism of the slow pace of change led to tensions with Gorbachev, resulting in his dismissal in 1987. Despite this setback, Yeltsin remained a popular figure. In 1989, he was elected to the Congress of People's Deputies, the Soviet Union's new parliament, with a significant majority. His advocacy for democratic reforms and Russian sovereignty resonated with many citizens. Presidency and the fall of the Soviet Union. In June 1991, Yeltsin was elected as the first president of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, securing 57% of the vote in a competitive election. His presidency coincided with a period of immense upheaval. In August 1991, hardline Communist Party members attempted a coup against Gorbachev. Yeltsin's defiant stance, famously standing atop a tank outside the Russian White House, galvanized public opposition to the coup and bolstered his image as a defender of democracy. Following the failed coup, the Soviet Union rapidly disintegrated. By December 1991, it had officially dissolved, and Yeltsin assumed leadership of the newly independent Russian Federation. Economic reforms and challenges. Yeltsin embarked on an ambitious program to transition Russia from a planned economy to a market-based system. This shock therapy approach included rapid privatization, price liberalization, and the removal of state subsidies. While intended to stimulate economic growth, these reforms led to significant hardships for many Russians, including hyperinflation, unemployment, and a sharp decline in living standards. The privatization process also resulted in the concentration of wealth among a small group of oligarchs, leading to widespread corruption and public disillusionment. Political turmoil and constitutional crisis. In 1993, tensions between Yeltsin and the Russian parliament escalated into a constitutional crisis. Yeltsin attempted to dissolve the parliament, which resisted, leading to a standoff. The crisis culminated in a violent confrontation when Yeltsin ordered military forces to shell the parliament building, resulting in numerous casualties. National Security Archive. Following the crisis, a new constitution was adopted, significantly expanding presidential powers. While this move restored order, it also raised concerns about the concentration of authority in the executive branch. Chechen wars and human rights concerns. Yeltsin's tenure was marked by 2 brew. William Shakespeare, often hailed as the greatest playwright in the English language, was born in 1564 in Stratford upon Avon, England. Though the exact date of his birth remains unknown, it is traditionally celebrated on April 23rd, coinciding with the date of his death in 1616. He was baptized on April 26, 1564, in Holy Trinity Church in Stratford upon Avon. Shakespeare's early life in Stratford-upon-Avon was shaped by his family and education. His father, John Shakespeare, was a successful glove maker and held various municipal positions, while his mother, Mary Arden, came from a prosperous family. William likely attended the local grammar school, King Edward VI School, where he would have received a classical education, including Latin and literature. At the age of 18, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, who was 8 years his senior. The couple had 3 children, Susanna and twins Hamnet and Judith. Tragically, Hamnet died at the age of 11, a loss that some scholars believe influenced Shakespeare's later works. By the early 1590s, Shakespeare had moved to London, where he began a successful career as an actor and playwright. He became a shareholder in the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a leading theatrical company that later became the King's Men under the patronage of King James I. This association provided Shakespeare with financial stability and the opportunity to produce his plays at venues like the Globe Theatre. Shakespeare's literary output was prolific. He wrote approximately 37 plays, encompassing tragedies like Hamlet, Othello, and Macbeth, comedies such as A Midsummer Night's Dream and Twelfth Night, and histories including Henry IV and Richard III. In addition to his plays, he penned 154 sonnets and several narrative poems, notably Venus and Adonis and The Rape of Lucrece. Despite his success in London, Shakespeare maintained ties to Stratford-upon-Avon, where he invested in property and eventually retired around 1613. He died on April 23, 1616, and was buried in the chancel of Holy Trinity Church in his hometown. Shakespeare's legacy endures through his profound impact on literature and the English language. His works have been translated into every major language and are performed more often than those of any other playwright. The First Folio, a collection of his plays published in 1623 by his colleagues John Heminges and Henry Condell, preserved many of his works that might have otherwise been lost. Today, Shakespeare's influence is celebrated worldwide, with his plays continuing to captivate audiences and inspire countless adaptations across various media.